Okay, I'm gonna take a look at Rick Reverb. So in general, we're gonna stop by pulling the boss to red. We're gonna wait for the first amplifier to drop. Then we'll use these markers. One thing with these markers or these amplifiers in Mythic is that they have a shield around them that people will later break with a certain mechanic coming up. Also, there will be one assigned player per marker on the ground to make sure that we also mark this amplifier itself with a marker. So when it shows up on the list, we know which amplifier is about to get full. After that, we just pull the boss there, and we'll wait for the next specific mechanic coming up, which is how we deal with this shield. And we get some DA period, yeah. Change to one mechanic here is the frontal coming up. This frontal needs to be soaked by as many people as possible. Anyone dropping below 75% at this point will get mind controlled, slowly walk towards the boss, and will be broken out by people DPSing them down. You are unable to do any actions while being mind controlled. So make sure that if you go into this, you are above 75%, and it also is split between the raids. So as many people can be in it, the less likelihood of anyone dropping behind 75%. There's also another thing with the mind control in this on this fight is these little white circles. If you get hit by one, you get a debuff, just like on heroic, where you take damage. If you get hit by another one when you have the debuff, you also get mind controlled. So don't ever get hit by two of these, especially in the intermission, because you usually probably fall behind and you will die. So avoid getting hit by two of those. Preferably avoid them at all cost. Here we're waiting for the second ones to drop down, so we are currently waiting for the second amps to spawn, but we also have a faulty sap coming up. The way these amplifications work, and it's a bit weird, is that they drop on anyone in range, not necessarily the furthest one or range players. So this first combo is usually the hardest one to get right, because what it does, it puts up these saps, and then it also spawns the amps. So you need to break this shield fast and then get back to the spot you're supposed to be either in melee or in range, otherwise you are risking dropping two amplifiers on top of each other. I try to check if there is a, even if you were to get one amplifier stacked on the other, that they would empower each other, but they actually don't. But the problem is probably when you go and clean them, and also how the circle spawns, you preferably want them on the marker. So it's important that we do these saps. You're gonna see when they show up now. They get done very quickly. The way you do these saps is by two of these people running into one another inside this shield. And you need to do it fairly quick here, especially on the first one, because you have the amplifier come down. So first one is in, and then back to your spots. There, they exploded, they run off. And when you broke the shield, you can start draining the amplifier as well. And you see how these come across now. So the first one, very tricky, because it lines up like this. The later ones are not that stacked up. And after that, we just keep on moving the boss, because the boss himself, if he's stuck on a pylon for too long, or amplifier too long, he will empower it quicker. Never, ever, ever have the boss stuck on an amplifier during the fight. Here we have a vision of how it should look eventually. They've done two saps. They had the frontal, and now they're gonna break the last one. You can also see a list of the amplifiers showing up here. They will have two people going over there to break that one. So they can start draining that too, because it was getting a bit high, and here they haven't marked orange yet, so they messed up. Hopefully they will mark it soon, because they have to be actually marked in order to show up correctly on the information. Also, when you've gotten the last set of pillars, these two actually never have to be soaked in every single phase. So it's always the first ones, but they always increase by one. So you will see here as they are about to phase that star will reach max, Orange and red has just been drained, so they at this point don't need to be soaked anymore. And then they get the intermission, and as it seems, I'm fairly sure about this, if one of the pillars or amplifiers are way higher than the other, that one is most likely going to get targeted. So it should be green here, and then purple. And then probably orange. Let's see if I'm right or wrong. So I didn't actually double check it. But here it's a bit harder to know which one is going to come up because they are more or less even. Let's end up picking red. So I was slightly wrong, but it doesn't really matter. We just run through the circle and then we get back. Once intermission is over, we're going to be left with any random amplifier anywhere. The easiest one is if we get one on range. The hardest ones are probably any of the middle ones. So let's say if we didn't get, they get orange here, so they're probably pulling it all over to red if I remember correctly. We'll see what they do. Okay, they start on skull. I mean, it makes sense too. So in this section, they will at some point later have to skip the boss, moving him around orange. But if they would have gotten the first, like the one lasting on red all over on the other side, they couldn't start here on skull. They would have to play closer to red, so they would have to start on orange with the boss. So preferably you just want to make sure that the boss is as close to one of the edges as possible, that also is in within reach of an amplifier where people can still DPS and heal and still clear the amplifier. So I will skip to when they get closer to the orange one. Now we're a bit closer to that point again. You'll also see that it is a bit more messy when they end up with amplifier from both sides. It's just you have to play it. There's no way around it. Soon they will get a new amplification coming up. These rings always break out a thing. If you cannot break a thing, you just move out of the group and stay away. Preferably, if there's one to break, melee want to break it so they can get back on the boss. Worst case, if range already done it, melee can't do much. They just have to try to do damage without hurting everyone else. Not sure if I can see the movement right now, but we'll see the tank. Yeah, you see how the tanks skip on orange and they're trying to pull more towards red here. They're all gonna face at some point soon, so but they make sure that the boss never go close to an amplifier that was in the way, because you don't want to charge it for no reason. And they also make sure that the boss is pulled before the intermission far enough away so we actually have time in case it decides to pick orange here or one closer. Oh, maybe orange is the closest one, but still. If the boss were on top of orange here, probably people wouldn't make it. So before intermission tanks, make sure you pull the boss away. And here, let's see if it picks Skull Direct first. It does, so it's a very far run. The first one is very predictable. The second one can be a bit harder, but it's going to be one of the higher ones. The first 100% is predictable. It seems like by the one who has the most energy at the point it happens. Here you can also see that they had two pillars on top of each other, so it works. It's just not ideal. And then here they have the orange one left, so they just choose red here, and then you'll see that they skip that one. One thing I forgot to mention as well is when you clear a pylon, you deal 2 million raid-wide damage. So be careful doing that, but it needs to just be out healed and dunked as fast as possible. Get rid of the shields. I think that's about it for the boss. The third intermission is basically an rage, so we need to kill the boss before that. Other things like, oh, kill the bombs, obviously, we do that on Heroic too. But generally try to stay stacked as melee group, try to stack as a ranged group, go out to circles if you are ranged and you can't break a pylon. And track pylons, be ready to help if it looks like people are not able to do it. We will have 2 groups rotation assigned for every pillar, but we will try with the 3 tank combo because a lot of people have said it's been easier. I'm not sure, but then again, I will be doing it. I usually don't do a lot of damage by calling anyway, so hopefully it puts less burden on everyone. There's also a, what is it called? There is a way how the Zork works that I wrote down, and I'm fairly sure, unless I got it wrong in my head. The first phase is you need to rotate 2 Zoks on the 3 first amplifiers. After that, you will have 1 amplifier left, so you will have to do 3 rotations on 1, and then 2 on 3. And on the last one, you will do 3 on 2, and 2 on another 3. Maybe it doesn't make much sense, but it's just how much you need to suck them if you don't fuck up by holding boss too close for too long.